10XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. The Major League Baseball season begins tomorrow with the New York Yankees hosting the San Francisco Giants, followed by opening day on Thursday. The Jumbo Shrimp are also set to get their season underway on Friday at home, taking on the Rochester Red Wings at 7:05. It's 62 degrees at 2 o'clock time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, Lauren Brooks, Taylor Dahl, and Tom McManus. This is
Helmets and Heels.
Helmets and Heels on 1010XL.
Yesterday, we almost had a record high with weather as far as the temperature goes. It was a gorgeous sunny day, which I needed to get over that lost Sunday night. But today, winds are gusting, it's overcast, and it's not the ideal day and weather for this baseball game tonight that I'm super pumped about, Florida State.
Yeah, not with all that wind. And hopefully the wind can die down a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely, that's North Florida for you, right? Especially this time of year.
That's what I was about to say. This time of year, it's like right at the tail end of like all of the, I'm putting cold that we have in air quotes, but that it's like right at the tail end, but there'll be a few days that sneak in every year because, I mean, we talked about it the couple years ago. Players Championship was cold and rainy and it was like overcast the whole time. And then this year we had outside of Thursday, one of the most beautiful Players Championships you could have asked for. And so it's just that time of year. You never know. And then this weekend, it'll be back to 85 on Saturday.
Friday was beautiful. But it's called Sunshine Showdown. I needed some sunshine. I wanted to see the sun set there at the ballpark. But either way, it'll be a fun night as Florida is not ranked in the top 25 in D1 baseball rankings like we talked about yesterday. Right. They are ranked in some other of the polls. And then FSU comes into town ranked 10th in the country. So FSU's been playing some really good baseball. It'll be fun.
It's a great night. I went, was it last year they played or 2 years ago?
They have it every year.
Okay, I think it was
other
last
than
year.
maybe the COVID year was the only year. That
it was, well, Cags was there because he kept hitting bombs. Like, I think he hit 2 that night. His first one was to the wall. I'd never seen him live before. I was like, wow, this kid's massive.
Yeah.
He's a massive kid, and he cracked it a few times. But yeah, man, it's so great. Always packed, a lot of energy.
It's sold out. I did confirm that last night.
And with the new renovations, we saw part of it with the J Fund and all of that. That's going to be a good time tonight for sure, whether or not.
I don't think everything was done yet last year for the game. They were like almost finished with things, but it wasn't quite done with that home run, whatever they were calling it in the right field, the patio.
Well, there's the home plate, then there's those shrimp boats.
Yeah, and then the right field, I forget what it's called right now. But I don't think all of that was open yet at this point last year. So it is like when you get to some of the, being able to experience that, I talked about that new right field area is fantastic because it is a little bit of AC. I guess you don't need the AC today, but on the summer days this year, it's going to be really nice. But yeah, how are you feeling? I mean, because you talk about the rankings are different, but Florida's had their number in recent years.
Yeah, Florida won the first time they've played so far this season. That game was in Gainesville on March 10th. Florida won 6-3. Used a ton of pitchers, but still got it done. But because of the sweep, obviously, at Alabama this past weekend, feeling definitely a little nervous. Baseball's obviously so different. This is not in Omaha, so it's not like I have to freak out. But I'd love to see Florida lost this game in Jacksonville last year, so I'd love to see Florida come back and win. But as I was telling the guys, the starting pitcher for FSU is former Sandalwood pitcher.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a junior. He started his career Gulf Coast State College. Cooper Whitehead, he's a lefty. He's got a 3.12 ERA. And then for Florida right-handed pitcher Russell Sandifer, he's got a 5.4 ERA. He is a junior from Tampa, Florida.
All right.
So not as great of an ERA. But it'll be, either way, Sandifer played pretty well last time he was out. It'll be, like I said, it'll be fun. It's always such a fun environment, but definitely dress warmly.
Yeah, dress appropriately.
Because when yesterday, it was nice and warm. Today is a little chilly with that wind.
Yeah. And what is it getting down to? Like, what's the low tonight?
I think it's still like upper
high
50s. Yeah. So it's not terrible. It's just for those of us that have already acclimated to those spring temperatures.
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't even look like it's getting in
it's like
the
62, 63.
But right now it says it's 67, feels like 59.
Yeah.
So that's wind. Yeah, it'll do.
Feels like. What is
And
it?
that's the temperature, okay?
I go off of those.
I feel 57. Right? It's 57.
But yeah, the Frangie Show will be out there at ViStar
Yes.
Ballpark, so stop by and say
Awesome.
hello to them.
Very cool.
And I'm hoping that they look at the weather before they step outside. All right, let's project the Jaguars' 2026 starting lineup post free agency. We'll obviously have to do this again post draft, but I don't, as I went through this exercise, there's not a lot of positions where I'm not sure who's going to start. There are a few where there's some competition. But for the most part, I don't have a lot of positions where I thought, okay, well, this will be a draft pick at this point in time. I think it'll be a competition maybe between a current player and a draft pick, but there's not a lot of question marks for me as I went through the whole roster.
When you look at the O-line, same five as last year, Van Lanen's
So that's
healthy? Or
yeah, we'll
where
start
you
with the offensive line because quarterback, we obviously know Trevor Lawrence is starting there. But I think the only position along the line that I have any question mark is right guard.
Right guard.
That's the only one where I think there may be a competition. I don't think it'll be between a draft pick. I think it'll be between Patrick McCary, maybe Walker Little, and Wyatt Milam.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, look, Van Lanen should come back fine. You know, he's your left tackle. Anton, who we saw at the Players, man, he's thin. I mean, he had a big shirt on. He's a big guy. Don't get me wrong, but he was a little.
He didn't look like an offensive lineman.
He did.
Yeah.
He did, but he didn't. He didn't look like
He
a
looked like a
massive.
retired offensive lineman. That's what I would say.
That lost some weight, but nonetheless, he's got that athletic feet that they love. And look, Hainsey will be your center again. I would be surprised if he doesn't win that job. Or I'm sure he's penciled in as the starter. Ezra, I'd be shocked if they did anything with him. I've seen on a couple, outlets, maybe he's a candidate for them to move on from, but I wouldn't move on from him at all. I think he's had a tremendous last year and even towards the end of the year before. The kind of guy you want physically. But look, if McCary comes back, he was okay. He wasn't, I don't think, what we all thought he was going to be. When you come from Baltimore, you kind of feel like, man, here comes a real tough guy. And not that he's not a tough guy, but you know what I mean? Like, he's going to be really physical. He's going to be getting after it, and he's going to be dominating people. He's going to bring a whole attitude to the offensive line. And granted, he had the injury, so you got to give him some of that, but he didn't bring that, it didn't feel like, And look, I thought when Walker Little, there's only one game or maybe even two, I thought he was he's a massive guard at 6'7", 330 that's athletic and strong, and maybe that's better suited for him. But, man, he was very aggressive that day. I thought he did a great job at guard. And then, look, you draft Wyatt Milam. Look, he can play tackle. He's athletic enough to play tackle. Is he, physical and big enough? He's physical enough for sure. Is he big enough to play guard? I'm sure they're going to try it out. Look, I bet they go through a little rotation like they did last year, Taylor, during camp, where we're all like, man, pick a starting line for crying out loud. They finally did. But at the same time, what do you want out of your O-line? You want that consistency, the cohesion. If you replace one guy, that's fine. You don't want to go in every year having to replace two or three guys, right? Because you need the best lines are the lines that stay together.
I get why they did that in training camp as far as moving guys around, and they told us why, even though they made fun of us, basically us media, for freaking out about it. But they said because they'd experienced different offensive linemen, too many offensive linemen going down in so many rotations.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'd be surprised if we don't know 4 out of the 5 starters as we sit here today.
Yeah, I personally, I think the line was fine last year. I would like to see it better. And so what that means, I don't know. I think some of that is questions of how much they see the injuries factoring into some of those things rather than actually just the player themselves. But most, if you look across the board, have the Jags between like 20 and 25th ranked offensive line. That's not good enough in my opinion. And I also think that later in the season, I think early in the season, Etienne, and when you talk about like the running ability, he was making things, kind of helping the line in certain situations when doing some of the things that we're not used to seeing him do up the middle or getting out on the perimeter. And later in the season, when that started catching up and you weren't really getting those yards per carry that you would have liked to see, I think some of that was on the line. Again, I do think McCary was dealing with the back injury and you were kind of having to mix things up at that point in time. So I think going into this season, it's more so evaluating that, how much Ezra has left in him. Cole, we haven't even heard, like they haven't specifically told us even what the knee injury is or if it's surgery or what surgery or whatever.
And they're not going to.
Right. But what does that look like? I don't think we don't know. Nobody in this building knows right now what that looks like, how soon he'll be ready, how ready he will be right away. And so do you have to have a backup plan and what does that look like? And so you want the best 5 out there, and I think that you can improve the line at this point in time. And so if you have the ability to do that, then I think you do that. But I think in the sense, just because I do think they like Ezra and they like Hainsey, that McCary is the one that kind of sticks out of being the possible replacement at this point in time. But I do think that in all of the 3 interior positions, in my opinion, I hope they have true battles during camp.
I think if they were truly worried about Cole, they would address something in free agency.
Yeah.
You know, don't you think? I mean, like, you got Wyatt, you can move Anton, you got options, and Walker's still there. But I feel like if they were really concerned, they would have made a move, right? They would have done something.
I mean, maybe they say we have Walker Little, who's already played, he's the left tackle, and then we could draft a tackle. And then you do feel like you have a backup solution. This is just me because we haven't heard anything. So it's so up in the air. I mean, it happened late in the season, obviously, and I feel in the postseason, is that when it ended up happening? So you feel like you don't know, and it's just no conversation. So I don't know what that looks like, but I do think you need a backup plan for that just in case. But in their eyes, maybe it is Walker Little because they're like, all right, I mean, it was Walker Little's job to start last year.
Yeah, if they discard Walker Little, if they were to trade him, then that would give us indication that they feel really strongly about Cole Van Lannon at this point in time. I want to say he got hurt against the
game
before,
right? And wasn't able to play
remember.
against the Bills, which was obviously really unfortunate. Yeah, I think collectively, the offensive line prior to last season was not very good. And so I did think that it improved last year. But could it be better than that?
Well, the bar was very low before.
It could definitely be better. But look, Seattle beat them up, and so did the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Buffalo.
Yeah.
But
what
in
just
between,
scares me because
they got it together.
It's like any good defensive line they had to face, they struggled badly. And I don't want to go into another season where it's like, okay, this is a good D-line, so just expect 5 sacks. Like, I don't want that to be a situation because there's clearly other teams in the league that go up against Seattle and aren't getting,
Houston,
allowing that.
Denver, I mean, they did.
Yeah,
they did
Houston
good.
got him the second time.
But they
Broncos
kept them clean.
game was probably the most impressive for the
They can always improve. I'm not trying to defend them too much, but
I would like a top 15 is what I would like, and I don't know if the players on the line right now are that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's another what if. We talked about that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I just think if Cole was really hurt, I think they would, like, if they were worried about it, they would have had to address something on the line. Not that they could afford it, but if it was that kind of, man, he really hurt his knee, we got to find, like, well, you got Anton. Well, we like Anton right there. We got Walker. Well, not totally sold on Walker. Let's go get somebody to solidify that.
Yeah.
Carolina just did it with their tech because Aquanu got hurt early. Oh, they grabbed that Rasheed Wallace, but a small deal.
Yeah.
1 year, 4 year, or 1 year, $4 million, I think. So not like a massive contract. He's a young tackle that Green Bay had. They say he's okay. Who knows how he turns out? But I think that, and look, are they going to really open up competition at center? Do you think? Is
Jonah Monheim.
Yeah, Monheim. Is he? Does he have a shot? Do they draft somebody? Do they move somebody else into center that could maybe play? Could McCary play center? They said he could before he got here.
And remember Cooper Hodges, who they drafted a few seasons, has been hurt back-to-back years. Yeah. I don't know what his status is at this point in time either. And I know they really liked him.
Yeah.
That was the previous regime.
The other regime really liked him. Yeah, and we wish him the best. I mean, that was terrible that he got hurt. But, yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, look, I think you do want that cohesion year after year. The good old line, they got to be good to begin with, right? If they stay together, they only get better. So that could be their thinking. We'll know in the draft, and we'll know between now and I don't think there's how many left tackles there are left or anything like that. But I think they run it back 4 out of 5, and like you said, they'll battle out that right guard.
And last year, I remember saying a lot of times, like, when it comes to the offensive line specifically, now that Tony Baselli is involved, I'm going to at least trust his evaluation, his expertise when it comes to that position group. Because in the past, obviously, like I said, it was one of the worst offensive lines. And hopefully Tony, along with James and Liam, we're all going to come together and be able to make it at least better, which it was certainly better last year. But
even though it was the most sacked that Trevor's been also.
Yeah.
It was the highest he's been sacked.
What was the final number?
41.
41.
Mm-hmm. The next closest was 35 in 2023.
Yeah.
And he played, that was the year he
played 16 that year.
41.
It was 17. So he had 32
So
sacks his
27
rookie
plus
season,
the
then
14.
27 in the 2022 season, then 35 the next year. Then in 10 games had 18 and then 41.
Yeah.
So yeah, that part of it.
41's a lot. And
Yeah.
you look, the 14 in 2 games, you still gave them up. So you can't
Right.
subtract those
And
and add a few back. But,
As we know, not all sacks are solely on the offensive
Yeah.
line. Not all sacks
All the
are
quarterbacks
on-
sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Correct.
depends.
Yeah,
Right.
it just
Of
depends.
course.
But yeah. All right, more roster construction or projection, I should say, comes up next. You're listening to Helmets and Heels. It's 1010XL 92.5 FM.
If you like to decompress after a daily mess,
Well, I guess you know all about me.
hitch a ride home with the Frangie Show.
So what do you do for relaxation?
Frangie and Carline drive you home.
Hey, you want to drive?
Afternoons on 1010XL.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
It's a Helmets and Heels Tuesday, backed by Morgan & Morgan.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Mike Dempsey. If you're thinking about a bathroom upgrade, maybe turning that old tub into a safer walk-in shower, check out 5 Star Bath Solutions. I shopped around, talked to several companies, and I chose 5 Star because their customer service was simply incredible. Responsive, honest, upfront about the entire project, and their pricing was even better than expected. When you're ready for a fresh look, better comfort, and a bathroom space you'll love using every day, schedule your free consultation at 5starbathsolutions.com and get the 5-star experience.
I want total control of my team.
The off-season is the time to check under the hood and add replacement parts.
I want to be able to recruit anybody that I want. No interference.
Follow the road to the regular season with AA Automotive and 1010XL.
Leon Serza here, your lemon pepper guy. You know Wingstop always delivers, and I'm not talking about their cook-to-order, hand-sauced and tossed chicken sandwich in your choice of 12 mouth-watering flavors. I'm not talking about the house-made ranch, so good nobody will blame you if you double dip. I'm talking about Wingstop that delivers straight to your door, and did you know they're open until 1 a.m.? So visit wingstop.com or use the app to get flavors delivered right to your door, late night, only at Wingstop.
Can't stop. Wingstop.
If you've been in an auto accident, you can count on the experts at San Jose Collision to return your vehicle to pre-accident conditions. San Jose Collision can also provide a fresh paint job to freshen up your vehicle or completely change its appearance. They can paint and repair all foreign and domestic cars and trucks. When quality and professionalism are important to you, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
I'm Frank Franzi, and I just got back from the farm at Okefenokee in Folkestone. Man, was I impressed. You have to see these handcrafted cabins. But act fast. On this 1,000-acre farm, there will only be 250 cabins. Each phase has jumped in value, so come get your lot and lock in your equity. Enjoy living in harmony with nature, going to the grocery store in your own backyard, and connecting with people grounded in food and purpose. Learn more at okefarm.com. That's okefarm.com.
When you hear Florida Gators baseball on 1010XL, it's brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, Custom Windows and Doors, Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville, and by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal.
Stand back, Jason. I'm gonna
Sneeze? Yeah, I saw that coming.
It's all this spring pollen, Jason. It's outside and it's inside my house, and I just can't stop. I can't stop.
Sneezing? Okay, let me help you with that.
How can you help?
At Bueller Air and Plumbing, We can improve your indoor air quality with air purifiers, UV lights, and filtration systems. Every new system we install includes high-efficiency 4-inch filters that work better and last longer, even if you forget to change them.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Life can get pretty dusty sometimes. If you spend all day, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Taylor Dahl is here. Former Jaguars linebacker Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. We haven't gotten it yet, but Firehouse is in the house. They brought us their new chicken and cheddar rancher sub, which is premium grilled white meat chicken, crispy bacon, melty cheddar cheese, and a new, get this, herb-forward buttermilk ranch designed exclusively for Firehouse subs.
Love herbs.
Plus French fries and desserts. Yes, we all
I love
herbs.
melty cheddar cheese.
Also true. And who doesn't love bacon?
Yes.
That's right.
Well, I definitely love bacon. I add bacon to everything I can possibly add bacon to.
Same.
So yeah, thank you to Firehouse. We will try those shortly and let everybody know just how delicious they are, but they definitely already sound delectable. All right, we are projecting the Jaguars starting roster through free agency, or starting lineup, I should say, through free agency. Quarterback Trevor Lawrence, we don't have to have a discussion about that one. We talked about the offensive line and really that right guard position probably being the only one really up for grabs at this point in time. That could certainly change between now and training camp. And then running back, do you expect a competition, Tom, between Bayshal Tootin and Chris Rodriguez, or do you expect it to be Tootin RB1, Rodriguez RB2?
Well, look, I think nothing happens without a reason, right? They go after Chris Rodriguez for a reason. And let me just put it to you that, so if Bayshal Tootin had a better year, he finished really strong, right? The playoff game was great. But he finished, he's hurt a little bit, and he finished with like a 3.7 yards per carry. So he didn't really have a great year. You see the potential. You see that maybe he could be that RB1 workhorse, take it to the house kind of guy, but you didn't see it, right? So if you did see it, let's just say it was different. Let's just say his average was 4.3. He had 7 touchdowns and rushed for about 850 yards. Would they
Which 5 touchdowns to 300 yards is what he had this past season on the ground.
Okay.
So that you would have expected maybe then to extrapolate and have even more than 7 touchdowns if he had rushed for 800 yards.
Okay.
But continue.
So let's extrapolate that to 9 touchdowns. Whatever. He had let's just say he had a really productive year.
Yeah.
Would they really have to go out and get a free agent, and pay them money to make them the highest paid running back in the room if he had that kind of year?
But who would be his backup at that point in time?
You would build it either through the draft or
Okay.
you find a free agent where you're not going to make him that kind of offer.
It would just be such a young running back group at that point in time. If Tootin is your starter, you have LeQuint, who's also a second-year player,
that,
and then if you add a draft
But if he had a year like that, hypothetically,
Sure.
they would feel really good. Like, who's your RB1? It's Bayashil Tootin. I mean, look what he did last year. But you can't say that. You can say it may be Bayashil Tootin. We like him a lot. He's got everything we're looking for. We just got to make sure. So then they bring him in. I expect, though, Tootin to win the job. I do. I think, look, the only concern you have about him is does he have the vision? And I think he does. Does he have the cutback ability, which he showed in the wild card game? And can he hold on to the football? You know he can run over people. You know he can get the extra yard. You know he can take it to the house from anywhere on the field. And can he catch the ball cleanly? Those are the things that you have to figure out with him, right? So I do think because if I'm him, I'm like, you brought in a run, like, Etienne's gone. Like, I'm the next guy. Oh, wait, you went and got a veteran that you know from the past, that you trust maybe a little bit more. That would light my fire. And if I'm Bayashil too, and I'm working on my game like crazy. And look, there are some politics in the NFL. Contracts do matter, especially when they invest more than 1 year. They're giving you guaranteed money. They're hoping that it really works out. So I think they're going to go in as a competition. But I would expect Tootin to say, hey, man, I can be, bless you, I can be that workhorse. But you know what's different? is I'm going to take it to the house, and I'm going to show you that breakaway speed. And if he can bring that to the table, you're still going to rotate him to a certain degree because you're going to, from what you hear about Rodriguez, he's more of a bruiser. You're going to need a bruiser type and maybe spell Tootin. But to me, I want the bruiser and the home run hitter, not just the bruiser. No disrespect to Chris. I hope he comes in and has a phenomenal year, and he's a phenomenal Jaguar. But that's what I would expect going in. They're going to compete, but I would expect Tootin to. Man, he's got the opportunity, at least the potential, to be a really, really good running back.
Yeah, for me, I don't know if the Chris Rodriguez signing changes anything when it comes to the running back room for me. I think that you can't guarantee in the draft that you're going to get the running back you like. And you can't guarantee that you're going to get a running back that you feel like fits your culture and all of those things. And what you can with Chris Rodriguez, Liam Cohen being familiar with him, is know that type of player, what type of player he is, how hardworking he is, the effort he puts in. The positives and negatives of his game and off the field. He's already played in your scheme and he's been successful in the type of schematic things that you've done. And so I do think adding somebody like that is almost a security blanket in a time for a coach, not only on the field, because I'm sure there's a lot of things that Liam Cohen does that he does physically with the football and running the ball. But I also think coaches sometimes like those guys that they know they can coach and are coachable and that have that mindset that fits the type of player and person they like. And we've seen this regime is very heavy into that, of bringing that culture side of players. And so I do think that $5 million for a running back per year is them saying, yes, we like that. Can he add something to the field when it comes to like the bruiser side of the ball? Yes. And then also we already are familiar with this player, which I think is important when you're adding to a locker room that, when you mentioned at the top of the show, Lauren, is pretty built. Like, you're pretty confident in the starters and that the majority of them are the starters and will be the starters week one. So you're meshing somebody into something that has already kind of started to form and make what we saw last year and carry over. And so I don't know if it could drastically changes. I would expect Bashal Tootin to be RB1, and I think that Chris Rodriguez is more of, certain moments, maybe red zone when you need to pound when you're goal line and things like that and get into it. But you also couldn't risk, you just lost somebody who had 13 touchdowns. You couldn't risk the draft, I don't think, fully when you came to replacing that position. And because I do think there's still some questions with Tootin that they need to see more out of. But my expectation is that Tootin will be running back one, and I think that that'll be his spot throughout the season.
I think this regime has shown us that they prefer competition as much as possible. They're not going to get it at certain positions, but like a quarterback. But I think they would prefer to go into it with, to your point, Tom, Tootin, we're not handing you the starting job. No. Like, we drafted you. We like you a lot. We trust in you. But we're not going to just give this job to you. And,
we don't totally trust in you.
But
not 100%
but
yet.
See, I do wonder, too, in Liam Cohen's scheme, would he prefer to have a guy that's better between the tackles? And that's what... Maybe certainly Tootin is, but I don't know that Etienne was ever going to be that, which is why they were okay not paying him $13 million a year.
We do know this. Look, he went to Tampa and grabbed the running game coordinator to join his staff. They're looking at new running backs, right? So he's not happy with the running game.
Right.
He wants to improve the running game. So there could be something to that. And I agree with you. He's familiar with Rodriguez. He knows what he's going to get out of him. And coaches want that in their locker room. Like, I know he's going to do everything I ask him to do. He's going to go above and beyond, and he's going to deliver on the field, and he's going to be a good locker room guy, and he's going to be a good teammate. It's just a natural fit, for him here. But I mean, look, again, if I'm Tootin, I'm working on my game like crazy and making sure that they understand that. Look, I'm a bruiser too. I mean, the guy's 5'9", 210. I mean, he's not a little guy. He's not 230. But he's not a little guy. When
we saw his lower half in camp last year, we were all like, okay.
But he needs to be more powerful, and he needs to be better. And I think he was, man, again, I'm sure they're kicking themselves too. I wish I would have saw more in the wild card game. Maybe that gives even more of a glimpse of what to expect out of him. Because if he even brings an inkling of that was pretty impressive, man, against a really good defense. So he saw the cutback. He saw the open space. He's got that the burst is insane from him to go 0 to 60. So, I would look for him to have a big year. And look, Rodriguez, like you said, for all those reasons, an insurance policy, just like Etienne was too, and then you take it from there. And we know from last year they made him compete, so you would expect them to make them compete once again.
Just a reminder, in the wild card game when the Jaguars lost to the Bills, Bashal Tutin's average yard per carry was 12.8.
Yeah, no, he ripped off 3, like 15,
Longs,
14,
yeah.
13, whatever.
But just when you, obviously, like, I'm sure Liam Cohen has gone back through that game many a time and has different decisions that he would have made, whether it was not going for it on 4th down or certainly handing the ball more to Tootin.
Right.
But yeah, I wish that we had a better idea of just what he was going to be next year because of what we got to see this past season.
Well, and look, I think in his defense and any rookie's defense with Liam's system, it takes time to that timing. To make sure you're taking you're hitting the hole at the right time. It's a zone blocking scheme. It's all, this one's man to man, but it's still, you got to be right on that tail, hit that hole at the right time, make the cutback at the right time. So it probably took him a little bit to get comfortable. I would expect him to feel really confident. I would expect, look, we haven't mentioned LaQuinn Allen. He's going to have a big role. They're going to need him to have a big role. And we know he can block. That's no doubt. We know he can run a little bit. I like to see a little bit more, but he should work on his hands a ton. We don't have an ETN out of the backfield right now. You just don't have it. And that was what he was really good at. Get that ball in the open space, and whether it's a screen or a swing pass or what have you, or even a jet down the field like he had in the Jets game for the touchdown. We don't have that. I don't know. I don't think Rodriguez is that. I don't know if LaQuint's that, but man, I would try to develop, if I'm him, I would really work on my route running, my pass catching, all that, because it's gotta be smooth. It can't be clunky when you're trying to catch the rock coming from Trevor. So, we got to find a guy, and maybe it's in the draft. You could use a scat back on occasion, as a rookie, and maybe that speed really, can make a difference, change a pace. I know after going, you go against a thumper, Jerome Bettis, and then Reggie Brooks hits the hole, and you're like, holy cow, what was that? There was different speed, you change it up a little bit. So, but yeah, I think it's a good room. I'm excited for the room. I'm excited for what to see out of Chris Rodriguez, and I'm excited to see Tootin, man. I think if he can really, turn it on, and no pun intended, he could be a pretty special guy.
And Tootin did have the 2 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, that's
true. We just don't talk
that's
about
true.
it that often because it was only 2.
And the one was a really good catch.
ETN had 3 in one game.
Yeah.
No, it was a really good catch. I think that was. Yeah, the Jets game.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, training camp battles, that's what gets our juices flowing is talk show hosts.
We're like, finally.
Give us something to analyze, compare, and contrast.
And just think, there was a block of games that the running game was not good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, there was. The yards per carry were terrible. Trevor had all the yards because he was taking off and running, which was great, but the running game was not very good for a chunk. And Liam wants that change. You can tell by the moves he's already made.
I was just glancing at that because that final it felt like towards the end, the beginning of the year is when it felt like the run game was working, and then later in the year it didn't. But Tootin in that final stretch of games had 7 carries for 17 yards, 8 carries for 17 yards, 2 carries for 5, 1 for 7. Like, that isn't good enough. That's what they're probably looking at right now. Like, we need to make sure that side of things is improved, because 2.5, 2.1, 2.4, 1.3, that's not going to work in the NFL.
And we bring in a guy that's average over 4 yards a carry in that
those
system,
moments,
right? And that system. So, makes sense.
All right, let's continue the Jaguars conversation on the other side. Don't go anywhere. It's Helmets and Heels, 10 to XL, 92.5 FM.
Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
Want to show off that backyard flex? Purple Heart Pools, a veteran-owned pool company right here in Jacksonville, is offering a brand new custom pool and spa package for a flat $75,000. All in, no bait, no switch. You heard that right. Only $75,000 for a custom pool and spa. Now's the time to break ground. Game days, summer nights, and neighborhood envy included. Schedule a free consultation today at purpleheartpools.com. Purple Heart Pools, Jacksonville's veteran pool company.
Mike Dempsey here for Big Number 1 Duval Ford. Did you know that Duval Ford offers a mobile service that comes to you at home or at work? Get oil changes, filters, battery replacement, recalls, and more with no extra fees. Same dealership quality delivered. Easy online scheduling with live technician tracking. Also available for fleets and commercial. On-site service at your convenience. Contactless payments and paperless invoicing. Serving Jacksonville and surrounding areas, Duval Ford. Schedule your next service at duvalford.com.
Helmets and Heels Tuesday is
litigated by Morgan & Morgan. Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Most things are easy when you're motivated. The question is, what happens when you're not? That's where Awaken 180 was different for me, Sneaky Joe, Bowerly, Beamer, and everyone else I know. Get motivated at awaken180weightloss.com.
This is Jeff Middlecoff with Cogent Bank. My associate Ryan Salem and I joined Cogent Bank because we wanted to revolutionize the mortgage business, just like Cogent Bank has revolutionized the banking business. So Ryan Salem and I are able to leverage the power and stability of Cogent Bank to go out and find our clients the best investors, the best products, and the best rates in the entire country for your particular mortgage loan. Of course, you don't have to be a customer at Cogent Bank to take advantage of our mortgage services to buy or refinance your home. We offer jumbo loans, VA, FHA, conventional, and investment loans. At Cogent Bank, we offer mortgages nationwide, so we can help you with a second home or help a family member who lives or is moving to another state. Call Ryan Salem or myself, Jeff Middlecoff, at Cogent Bank today, 904-442-9191, to see how we can help you with any of your mortgage loan needs, whatever or wherever they may be.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, Cogent Bank, NMLS ID 402296, Ryan Salem, NMLS ID 1182429, Jeff Middlecoff, NMLS ID 249086.
Instant Keys is turning 25. A quarter century of saving the day when your keys mysteriously vanish.
Seriously, it was just in my pocket.
Or when that remote fob decides to quit working.
The dealership is such a hassle.
For 25 years, Instant Keys has been the go-to locksmith service for car keys, house keys, transponders, re-keys, and even high-tech smart locks. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For honest, professional locksmith service, use Instant Keys.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this cloudy and windy day. Sunshine Showdown later today at VyStar Ballpark. First pitch at 6 o'clock between number 10 FSU and unranked Florida Gators in baseball. Should be a heck of a lot of fun, especially if you're dressed warmly enough. Bring your blankets, potentially.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, Jaguars starting lineup projection after free agency. We've gone through quarterback, offensive line, and running back thus far. I think tight end is fairly easy, although if we were to project a 2 tight end set, I'm not sure who the tight end in addition to Brenton Strange would be, but I think we could all agree Brenton Strange is definitely the starting tight end.
Yeah.
Maybe
Brenton Strange is and should be tight end number 1. Would I like another tight end? I've mentioned I would like another pass catching tight end in the group. Not saying to directly compete, because I think Brenton Strange has the potential to be one of the better tight ends in the NFL. So you're not talking about that, but just to have another guy. I mean, you saw how drastically the offense changed when he wasn't there, when he got hurt last year, and you don't want that to happen again. You don't want Brenton Strange to not play, and then all of a sudden you have no tight end. Like, yeah, you'll get a touchdown here, and you have blocking tight ends and all of that, but somebody that's even like close to what Brenton Strange can do in all areas of that tight end play, you don't have that on the roster right now. So I would like somebody more so to compete with 2, and then if something happens to Strange, you have a solid backup plan.
Because Quentin Morris, they did resign, so he's on the
and
roster.
I like him. I think he's a pretty athletic guy. I think he's pretty, light on his feet. He's a physical blocker. But like Taylor said, you need another weapon there, too. And if Strange goes down again, you really didn't replace him at all. Hunter Long was more of a red zone guy early in the season, and then
once he had a drop, they pretty much went away from him.
Same with Johnny Munn, it felt like.
Yeah.
They just didn't feel comfortable with them. So there's plenty of tight ends in the draft. Find a young kid that likes to block, maybe not the best blocker, but it's willing. That's part of it. You want him to be willing, at least, like not afraid to go after, because you don't want to give away your tendency, right? You got to have a guy that can at least block a little bit. You don't have to be like a dominating blocker, and then
Which
you
Britton
want.
Strange 100%.
Oh yeah,
is.
and so is Quentin. I think Quentin's on that that kind of blocker as well. But then you throw in a tight end that looks like he can do that, but you're really getting him down the field, hit him on the seam. Those seam routes, we missed those. Those inside seam routes to the tight end down the field. I think that's a good throw for Trevor. He knows where to put it over the linebacker and inside the safety, and we need a guy that can do that. Strange can do that, right? But we need another guy to offset that and keep them guessing.
And you see two tight end sets a lot in the NFL. And so, the reason the Jaguars moved on from Evan Ingram is he wasn't able to do everything that they wanted him to do, and primarily blocking.
3 tight end sets too, right? The Rams are notorious for that. So, and Quentin's a guy that
Rams 2.0.
Yeah,
at this point in time.
Rams East. I feel like maybe one of those picks in the 3rd or 4th round could certainly be a tight end. I don't think that that's who they would pick with the 56th pick, their first pick in the 2nd round, their first pick overall, but first pick in the 2nd round for the Jags. But I do see one of those, because they have a stockpile of draft picks in those middle rounds. I could see a tight end being one of those.
Yeah, and they've got a stockpile in the later rounds that maybe could beef up to get up to another 4th round pick, maybe another 5th round
package
pick.
Those up.
Yeah, get up there.
We had a couple notes off the text line brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures, mentioning we talked about obviously running back and offensive line to start the show. So the 3144 said McCary had the most holds at Baltimore. I didn't understand the signing in the first place. Next paragraph, if you watched Tootin in college, he caught the ball well. He's got good hands and 4.32 speed. What's not to like about the dude? He always falls forward. So that's one note on that. And then
the only negative on Tootin was the ball security.
because
he did have, I think it was 9 fumbles total in college. And I remember, Taylor, we had a Virginia Tech beat reporter on, and I forget the person's name now because it's been a minute, but he basically said there were reasons for some of those fumbles. So, one of them he got severely injured on. Another one, it wasn't his fault because someone missed a block, or there were extenuating circumstances. I remember being like, okay, I don't think we should totally focus on those turnovers.
And then the first OTA he fumbled, and we were like, oh no.
Yeah, right.
But it didn't feel like a massive issue when we were talking about this last year. Granted, there wasn't a ton of carries. That's when you have bulk of carries is when you start seeing those fumbles. And when you're kind of the guy. But Billy also said, which we didn't even mention this name, but Jaquindon Jackson, obviously, he said, I think has a shot. Jaquindon averaged 5.3 yards per carry with 15 touchdowns at Arkansas. I think they are developing him. He also was a quarterback in high school, so kind of has that mindset, which we've seen, those double positions kind of work out in the NFL sometimes too.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big running back.
Yeah.
But they grabbed Rodriguez to be the bruiser, so maybe they keep him on the practice squad, or somebody grabs him and he gets a chance. But I'm looking forward to seeing him with a year, in the program, working out, getting bigger, getting stronger, getting probably faster, and let's see what he can do in camp. He'll be an exciting one to watch. As far as Tootin with his hands, he made some great catches. I think in camp it just didn't feel like, and then throughout the year, like it was as smooth as it can be, but it doesn't mean he can't do it. And look, we all know about the 4.3 speed. I mean, we know he could take it to the house at any given moment. But again, if they were that confident, they wouldn't go out of their way to go bring in somebody that
when you're not
comfortable
making
with.
a lot of moves, you don't have a lot of money to spend. Even 2 years, $10 million for a running back is a significant signing for this franchise where they are now. So I think say that they like C-Rod maybe a little bit more than Jaquindon, just for the here and now.
Yeah, it's $6 million guaranteed. I mean, that's not a ton in the NFL world. It's a ton in the real world, but it's still bigger than anybody else in that room. But we'll see. They'll let them battle it out, and hopefully they can get that. Look, I want nothing more than Bryce Tootin to be just an unbelievable running back. I mean, if we could get that going, to pair that with Trevor's progress and everything. Exactly. Zoom, and toot, get all the way.
For Tootin. All right, wide receivers, I think this starting projection is fairly easy. Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington, Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah. I mean, BT on the outside. I can't, I'm looking again. We talked about him yesterday. You look at that Jackson Smith and Jigba's contract. I'm training my butt. I mean, just a piece of that if you're Brian Thomas. And if he puts together a great year or 2 years back to back, he's probably looking at that, whether it's here or somewhere else. He can really play himself into a contract that's just out of this world. And he's got it in him. He's got, and why do I believe that? Because he's a willing blocker. Like if he was, everyone's like, oh, he's afraid. Well, if he was so afraid, he wouldn't be going after, corners the way he does and block it. He's not afraid to block anybody. Go after a safety, go after a corner, and he does it. So he's got it in him. He's got that fire. He's just got to put his game together 100%. And look, it's not all him. Like him and Trevor got to get on the same timing, the same page on these deep routes. It's great that you have a deep threat, but if you don't hit him enough, it doesn't mean anything. You still keep that safety back a little bit. They're not going to be that worried because you don't hit, you guys don't hit each other. And a lot of it's just timing. It's not that he can't get it there. He can totally get it there. Sure. A lot of time you throw it late and then it hangs and then that DB can catch up. The safety can come over and make a play. So you just got to make sure that we can really get that connection going, because if that connection goes down the field, guess what? Parker and Jacoby and the tight ends working the middle to the intermediate, it's going to be wide open. It's going to be phenomenal.
And Liam had that in Tampa, right? When he was the offensive coordinator, obviously with Baker Mayfield at quarterback, he had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
Like that, those deep balls were constantly connecting.
Yeah, you need to.
Yeah, and I think if Brian Thomas Jr. returns to what we saw that rookie season or even close to it, I think there's an argument that Parker, BT, and Jacoby Myers, and then add Strange, that pass-catching group is one of the better, deeper ones in the NFL, just because you have guys with probably better. If you're talking about a Justin Jefferson and a Jamar Chase and a Puka and a JSN, you'd probably pick that one guy over anybody that's on the Jags. But if you're talking about 4 pass catchers that you feel like just as a room as a whole, pass catching room, I think it sits towards the top if BT returns to what we saw that rookie season.
Absolutely. Again, it's not rocket science. If you got a true number one that has to keep that corner to his side and that safety his side on their toes, it opens everything else underneath and on the other side of the formation.
For sure. I don't know at this point in time who the 4th, 5th, 6th wide receivers are. I guess we could throw in like an Austin Trammell.
We're going to see Austin.
Yeah.
He's going to be like, have a great camp.
And I guess I obviously should mention Travis Hunter. I think in our minds putting Travis Hunter as cornerback when we look through this roster, but certainly our starting lineup, but certainly Travis Hunter at times will be on the field as a receiver.
Yeah, I was just going to say on ESPN.com, they have not moved Travis to the defense. They've moved everybody else. Like Lloyd's not there. I don't see Gardeck. They miss Gardeck because
they have him behind Trayvon.
Oh, behind Trayvon.
Yeah, right. Wow. At least on ESPN right now, they have Trayvon and then Gardeck and BJ Green, and then Eric Armstead, Matt Dickerson, and then they have Devon and Mason Smith, and then obviously Josh Hines, Allen Strigo, and Jalen McLeod.
Yeah,
I don't know.
For what it's worth, I always like the Our Lads depth charts better than ESPN's. No offense, Mike DeRocco and things like that, but just my personal
I go back
preference.
and forth.
Where do they have
I
him
take
on our
each
lads?
at different things.
Corner
on
or
our lads,
or
they
wide
actually
receiver?
Gardeck. They have him behind Ventrell Miller, Travis Hunter. You're asking?
Yeah.
They have Travis Hunter on our lads as a starting corner, and then also a backup receiver.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what they have on ESPN too.
Yeah.
So there you have it. All right, more to do on the other side, including Tommy's Takes. You're listening to Helmets and Heels, 10 to next on 92.5 FM.
Some things just never get old.
Beautiful day for baseball.
Experience the most play-by-play sports on 1010XL.
If your lawn took a beating this winter, listen up. Prosser here for Julington Creek Pest Control. They've just started the first of 3 rounds of premium granular fertilizer. No cheap liquid fertilizer here. Custom blended for Northeast Florida lawns. Their certified technicians apply slow-release nutrients. Rebuild your lawn thick, strong, and green over time. Plus, they protect your home from pests and termites. Call Julington Creek Pest Control today. Our family serving yours since 1984.
It's a Helmets and Heels Tuesday.
Backed by Morgan & Morgan. For the people. Dial # law.
Hi, this is Dr. George Bari, an orthopedic surgeon who is fellowship trained in sports medicine. If you are a young athlete or a weekend warrior, I treat you with the care and expertise that is needed to diagnose and treat your injury. Come see me at Bari Orthopedics to get the care that you need.
Be sure and check out the expertise from Dr. George Bari and the entire staff at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com. And follow Doc on Instagram at Dr.GeorgeBari.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, you spend a lot of time talking about diamonds, but what about some of the colored stones we see?
Frank, when you talk about colored stones, there are literally hundreds of varieties and species in the gem kingdom. As certified gemologists, we're trained gemologically on the identification of each of these and can separate the man-made synthetics and imitations from the real thing. But at Underwoods, we can go to the next step. At Underwoods, we're active buyers of loose colored stones in the world markets, so we have an understanding of the values of colored stones as they relate back to the various qualities. In fact, just like diamonds, we buy most of our colored stones loose, then create the pieces of jewelry to hold the gems. You can be assured not only of the authenticity and quality of our colored stone jewelry, but also of the value. So if you're in the market for a fine quality emerald, sapphire, ruby, aquamarine, amethyst, citrine, tourmaline, peridot, or any other gemstone, come by and see us at Underwoods.
Did you know that an annual coating inspection can extend the life of your building by years? Catching early signs like hairline cracks, fading, and moisture intrusion helps prevent costly repairs down the road and keeps your property looking its best. Our team at Performance Painting helps you stay ahead of maintenance with professional inspections and long-lasting coating solutions. Protect your building, protect your budget. Go to performance-painting.com to schedule a free inspection. Performance Painting, repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting! When it's game time, make feeding the crowd easy. Chicken Salad Chick serves fresh Southern-style chicken salad, flavorful sides, and crowd-favorite catering trays. Order ahead at chickcatering.com or visit one of 4 area locations today.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Tom, back from vacation. Have you finally got off of the
rocking?
Yeah, the rocking since you were on a boat for a week?
The first night I almost peed all over the toilet. I was like, whoa! Middle of the night, still rocking. But no, it's all come back down to normal.
I'm sad that I asked that question at this point in time.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Yeah, most 55-year-olds out there going, oh, is that a problem?
Yeah. just clean it up after the fact.
That's right.
All right, time now for Tom's take.
Now, Tommy's Takes, protected by Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com, or dial pound law. That's all.
All right, my takeaways today on this beautiful Tuesday. It's always beautiful, whether it's sunny or not in my world, but I had a great conversation with a friend of mine. I'll leave him nameless, and I'll leave his business nameless as well. But recently he sold his business, and I helped him with some financing to get the thing started way back when, like years and years ago. So anyway, we were talking, and I said to him, I said, well, did you get what you want? And he goes, no, I didn't get what I want. But you know what, Tom? I got what I need. And I said, man, that's a great outlook. He's like, look, I walk away debt-free. I didn't make the money I thought I was going to make, but I don't know anybody, and I move on to my next thing, and I got this other thing going on. And I just thought of this song, you know, they're all like, you can't always get what you want, but if you try, you can get what you need. And I just thought that was a great message to have inside your core, to be like, you know what? I know he put everything into it. Like what he did with it was absolutely incredible. And that he got it sold is fantastic. And just for him to have that attitude, I thought was pretty darn special. You know,
starting businesses, as you're well aware,
so hard,
really difficult. And then the amount of capital that you're putting into it, whether you secure the financing or if you're coming out of pocket,
right,
regardless of how you do it. And then all the man hours that it takes.
All the blood, sweat, and tears, man. And look, a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't hit on first ones or second ones. They fail until they find that right one. But congratulations to my friend, and a great outlook on life, I think. And that's brought to you by my friends at Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Yeah, I think, too, like, in a sense, you can relate that to the football world because we see so many players. I actually was just doing a podcast, and I learned about Kobe Bryant, who obviously the Bears just signed from Seattle this offseason. But his story is kind of interesting because he was a corner in college. And so he was an outside corner in college. Then he gets to the NFL, and they're like, you're not quite fast enough, so we're going to move you to nickel corner. And he said that I wasn't talking to him personally, just from talking to people about it, but he wasn't happy. Like, he was like, no, I'm an outside corner. I want to play outside corner. That's what I do. I want to be, I want to be that ball hawk. I want to do these sorts of things. And the coach was like, I don't see you fit there. So do you want to play, or do you want to try and go, be somewhere else and be an outside corner eventually. And he was like, okay, whatever. I'm a baller. I'll just ball out and do this. So they moved him to nickel corner. That didn't work either. They're like, no, this isn't working either. So they moved him to safety, which obviously is where he's been now for the majority of the NFL, and now just got a pretty good contract, a second contract for him for being that safety position. But they were talking about, like, he was very vocal with the media at first of like, this isn't what I want to do. Like, I've been an outside corner my whole entire life. And so being able to be like, maybe it's not what you want, but the need and just being like playing the part and the role in a team and how important that can be. You just won a Super Bowl now because you agreed to say, okay, yes, outside didn't work, nickel didn't work, safety works. I can be a heck of a good safety in the NFL and now win a Super Bowl and be a massive part of a really good defense. And so sometimes it's hard for guys, though, because, or just people in general, if egos get involved, it's hard to kind of put that aside sometimes. So in the football world, we see it with offensive linemen. You're not a tackle, you're a guard. You've got to move inside. And some guys are like, I don't want to.
Or you're a right tackle.
Tackles make more
you're a
money.
right tackle. Yeah. Jawan Taylor was one of those guys who was like, I don't want to move. And that caused some issues here in Jacksonville. And so then he got moved anyways. And then now, I don't know. But I feel like sometimes it is nice to just be like, what you think is also best for you may not be in the long term. And you have to accept that sometimes.
Yeah, and the ego, you're right. It gets in the way, and it can. And I love the way the coach put it. Look, do you want to be on this team, play in this system, or do you want to go try to maybe make it as an
Somewhere
outside guy? So let's get focused here and figure out what's best, and then you got to put the team first. That's the I always feel like the best players. Every individual should want to be the greatest player at that position of all time, right? You want all the awards, you want all the incentives, you want all the money, you want everything, but none of that can be above the team winning. You know what I mean? A lot of times when you win, like you Kobe Bryant, you that's the fruits
Makes
of the
it a
labor,
little better, yeah.
right? You know, what I mean, look, you won the Super Bowl, and now you're being a free agent, and you're going to move on and do some great things. So, yeah, no, that's a great one. And look, it's just not being selfish, right? You even take it to, like, not even a guy with his position. Like, you take even Trevor, like, changing the way he is mechanics. He could have said no. Coach, I don't
I've
feel
been doing this since I was
doing
15.
That.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it that way. I'm just not going to do it. Remember when Leftwich was here? They tried to change his motion because it dipped down, too low, and now he could throw it a mile, but it took too long to get out. And he's like, I'm not changing the way. Now, maybe he couldn't, maybe it just wasn't going to happen. But to have those guys, like Trevor saying, no, you're right. I got to fix my feet. I got to fix my mechanics. I'm going to go to work and make sure that when I take the field on Sundays, it's second nature the way that ball's coming out because I put in that time and change. That's where you take, think about it. He already got paid or he was getting paid. He already had the contract in place. You're going to be like, Coach, I'm going to be here longer than you no matter what. You do know that, right? But he didn't. He did it for the team. He did it for himself. And you got to credit Liam for getting that out of him as well.
It's hard to do that also 4 years into the NFL.
Right.
That's at the point in time and coming off of an injury, it would have been much easier to be like, you know what, this year, let me just rehab my shoulder. Maybe a year from now, we'll deal with that. I got to learn the playbook. We've got new pieces, right? Like, it would have been easier for him, but certainly he took it all on at once and didn't wear the wristband as well. I have a sign on my desk, Tom, going back to the money part of things, and it's a line from Zach Brown Band's Homegrown, and it says, it's the weight that you carry from the things you think you want. And it's good. To me, like, so much of focus, on what you have. Be grateful for what you have, and don't focus on greed is really that other part
envy.
of things.
Don't have envy.
Absolutely, And I feel like women, honestly, have more envy than men. Women are always envious of what other women have instead of
how they look or what they have.
Instead of being thankful for what we have.
Yeah. We pulled up next to the kids man. I was like, wow. Cool. Everyone else like, oh my.
I can't believe we're on this catamaran.
This 56-foot catamaran.
Yeah, exactly.
Now what we have is not good anymore. All right, so let's get back to the Jaguars on the other side. You're listening to Helmets and Heels, 1010 XL, 92.5 FM.
Hi there, I'm Steve Spurrier on 10XL, 92.5 FM.
1010XL.
My Gate Rewards members, this deal is just for you. Right now, grab any two 12-ounce Red Bulls and get two of your favorite roller grill items for just $1. When you need a boost, Gates got you. See store for details.
Helmets and Heels Tuesday, protected by Morgan & Morgan.
Spring cleaning is good, but there's something even better than spring cleaning: spring organizing. This is Lauren Brooks, and I love our organized closets from Closets by Design. They create custom storage systems designed around how you actually live. From closets and garages to entertainment centers, laundry rooms, storage for any space and budget. Make an appointment to tour their gorgeous showroom on Phillips Highway today and get 40% off plus an extra 15% off, free installation, and 18-month special financing. Schedule your free consultation at 904-878-9393 or find them online, closetsbydesign.com.
Looking for golf that doesn't feel like golf? Welcome to Pine Royale, Callahan's new golf entertainment destination. Play a 9-hole par 3 course, compete in TrackMan-powered driving bays, and get ready for all-new 18-hole mini golf coming soon. As the sun goes down, the course lights up. Add in great food, a full bar, and space to hang with the whole crew, and suddenly golf feels a whole lot more social. Search Pine Royale Callahan and come play today.
Patrick Young here, a.k.a. the Big PY, and you know I love my Florida Gators. Now you can hear my Gator basketball instant reaction following each Gator Hoops game. Look for my takes on the social channels of 1010XL. Brought to you by VanguardSportsLeagues.com.
Hicken here. Experience crystal clear vision with the Eye Associates, formerly Bow 9 Associates, Schneider Eye and Wellness Center, and Janet Betchkel, MD, Jacksonville's leader in advanced eye care. From routine eye exams to specialized vision care, their experienced team dedicated to improving and preserving your vision. The same care you've come to trust, now with a new name. To schedule your appointment today, call the Eye Associates, formerly Bow 9 Associates, Schneider Eye and Wellness Center, and Janet A. Betchkel, MD, at 296-0098.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Hairforme.com.
I was born in Louisiana.
The Legends 90th birthday celebration. Live. Buddy Guy, 90. Saturday, August 22nd, St. Augustine Amphitheater. Tickets on sale now at AXS.com.
Save big and head to Ronnie's Repair on Sunbeam Road, your local sales and servicing Toro dealer, for their spring sales event this week. Ronnie's offers the full line of residential and commercial Toro zero-turn, stand-on, and walk-behind mowers in gas and battery options. Get groundbreaking savings on Toro Time Cutter, Titan, and Z-Master zero-turns, Grandstand multi-force stand-ons, and walk-behind mowers. Take advantage of the Toro 0% financing or Toro rebate on select mowers. Stop in this Wednesday through Friday to check out great deals and amazing finance offers. Ronnie's has everything you need to make your lawn look the best in the neighborhood. For more details on spring sales event deals, visit your local Toro dealer. Ronnie's Repair on Sunbeam Road. Browse the entire Toro line at ronniesrepairshop.net. All handhelds and accessories will be 10% off during the spring sales event.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Chad and Sandy Real Estate. The Florida vs. Florida State rivalry returns to the Diamond tonight right here in Jacksonville. Down at VyStar Ballpark as the 19-4 Seminoles take on the 19-6 Gators for a 6 o'clock first pitch. Listen to the game live on 1010 AM as well as the 1010XL app. It's 60 degrees at 3:01 time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Rolling through this Tuesday afternoon, and like Max said, that very important Sunshine Showdown takes place tonight, ViStar Ballpark. First pitch at 6 o'clock. And Tom McManus, are you okay?
I had a couple sandwiches out there from our friends at Firehouse. Holy moly.
Yeah, delicious.
Yes. Thank you so much to Firehouse for dropping by. The chicken and cheddar ranch or sub, white meat chicken, crispy bacon, melty cheddar cheese, and the herb-forward buttermilk ranch.
Herb. It's good. Tasted wonderful. It was really good.
Firehouse
really
does
good.
such a good job because everything, like, they're one of the few that cook almost every sub. You can also without, but everything, like the mushrooms, everything is like cooked and steamed, and the meat is always extra juicy, but the bread still has like the crunch on the outside, and it's so perfect.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for the snack. I
Yes,
like a
thank
little
you.
midday snack
That's
like
right.
that now.
I've loved Firehouse for a long time. Like,
Oh,
I
me
remember
too.
coming back from college because they didn't have firehouses in Gainesville, and I'd be like, "I'm back in Jack's. I have to go to
the
Firehouse
hook and ladder.
subs." Oh yeah, all
So good.
delicious.
Yes.
Chicken ladder.
Yep.
All right, so back to the Jaguars projection of the starting lineup. We've made it through the offense, everybody. That's
Let's go
great news.
through kickers.
Look, we'll go through defense first, and then if you'd like to go through the specialists, I figured we'd skip those because we can easily project
that's
who's
right.
going to be starting at kicker, punter, and long snapper. But defensive tackles, I think right now I'm going to project that it's going to be Devon Hamilton and a draft pick. That's what my projection is. I think Eric Armstead is on this team, but I don't know that he's starting week 1. I think maybe with that 56 pick overall, the Jaguars are going to have someone opposite Devon Hamilton as starting defensive tackles.
Interesting.
I'm kind of rolling with that. I think that. And I think that through camp and OTAs, we may see Eric Armstead and said draft pick battle through things, but I can just see a world where they maybe want Eric Armstead now. And I think we could see a heavier rotation than we had seen this last year too, because you're seeing a lot of, that's Seattle. Seattle had 7 guys and you just constantly saw them rotating, and you saw how healthy all of them still were at the end, and you saw how fresh they were constantly. And so kind of molding to a world, I think the Rams do it a decent amount too. And so if you're talking about replicating, which we have in a lot of ways here in Jacksonville, having a little bit, and not saying Ryan Nielsen hockey shifts rotation, because I know that traumatizes some people from that year, but there's a lot of teams that have a healthy rotation of guys that it's worked out, and you're seeing more of that, especially because now even these interior guys, they're just big, fast, athletic guys. It's not the big, burly ones anymore that just have to like really worry about run blocking. You want guys that are getting to the quarterback and kind of staying in that like world of things and able to do a little bit of everything. So I could see to where it's a battle, but then by week 1 draft pick, especially if it's used with that second round, their first pick, him starting and Eric being more of that, like, you know, come in on rotation and certain situational downs.
Yeah, it just, again, I think the money is a factor. Like, you're paying him 17, 18 million. He's really good against the run. I mean, he is. I can't, you watch the tape, like every game, the replay, he's not getting knocked like back. And Hamilton did an even better job. 2 years ago, I wouldn't say that about Devon, but last year he was absolutely incredible. So to me, look, I feel like if they draft someone at 56 that just they feel is going to be a stud defensive tackle, then maybe they announce that they're going to be a post-June 1. I just don't see him on the roster and not being your starter. It's just too much money to be like, yeah, he's going to sit on the bench and we'll let the rookie take over. And it'll be one thing if Eric was just awful at everything, but he's not. He is a solid. We just need more out of the pass rush. I know he'd say wrist or hand. Some of that's valid, but he faded, and we need him not to fade. Now, maybe that's where he needs more of a someone to come off the bench and relieve him a little bit more. I thought they were hoping Mason Smith, but here's another thing too. Like, I think Strigow gives them a little flexibility. I think he could play inside on third down in the nickel package. You can always move Trayvon down if you had to, especially in that nickel package. So they got some flexibility there. But I think the starters are who they are on first down. If they come out in base, right? I think Eric's your defensive tackle. I think Trayvon and JHA are your ends, and then the nose is Devon Hamilton. If the team comes out in 3 wides and you got to go nickel, I still think that it's not Hamilton, it's Trayvon, it's Eric to start. We'll see how the year goes. It's still Josh Hines Allen. And then the fourth, maybe it's, Green the second. Maybe it's Strigow. Maybe it's somebody they draft that can get to the quarterback, that just is that situational, type guy. I heard the guys on driving in on XL Primetime talking about the 56. If he's a dealer, he's got to like start or play. I don't know if he's got to play a lot. He's got to be a major contributor, but I don't know if I need him to start right away unless clearly he's better than what you have. And if he is better than Eric, that remains to be seen, then I personally be like, all right, Eric, we're going to move on from you. You're just going to cut. We don't want to pay you $17 million to be a situational player. We pay you $17 million to be a full-time starter. And without the hand, maybe does have 8 sacks.
Here's my question, though. If you were to be told that you would have a Seattle-esque defense next year, would you do that? Because when you look at Seattle, Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy are their main guys, but Jordan Reed played 52% and he's making $22 million a year. So their rotational third on the inside's making 22, which is more than Eric Armstead, and that was what made them what they were last year. So if somebody was telling you that you get the Seattle defense production, would you say, okay, a rookie and Devon starting and you'll pay 17 for Eric?
What's the difference? Like, how are we getting that Seattle production?
We'll have an interior defensive line that can get to the quarterback, and that
because of the 56 pick.
Yeah. You're adding a guy that can get pass rush.
But you're going to add the 56 pick, and that's going to turn you into Seattle.
Eric's a guy that can stop the run, and Devon obviously, but then you draft somebody who is one of those guys that can kind of collapse the pocket in the middle and do some of the things that their defensive tackles, when you talk about a Byron Murphy, can do.
Yeah. What about Leonard? I mean, Leonard Williams is better.
I'm not saying you have identical to what they are.
I don't think we have it. I mean, I don't think that just changes us into Seattle's. If I know the if game we're playing, if Josh gets more sacks, if Trayvon turns into this unbelievable rusher, going to really get after the QB and all of that, maybe, but
if not,
I still think that contract matters.
This defensive line.
Yeah. And look, I don't know the other contracts along that Seattle line, but when you're all good, you don't mind paying everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On the field.
Because you'd have a rookie contract. That's part of it. So you'd only be you'd pay Eric what it is, but you'd be having a discount on that 56.
But what are you keeping him for? If this guy's a stud, why do you need Eric?
For me to do what Seattle did. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I just love the way that Mike McDonald used that the interior defensive line. Those 3 players having almost identical snap counts.
Who's our third? Just out of that.
Well, that draft pick.
And then who's our second?
Devon, Eric, and then draft pick.
Well, Devon will rush the passer, so he's a great run stopper. So we need that. And again, I just don't think you'd keep that on the books just for a guy that.
And I don't know if they would either, because they need money, obviously. Like, at this point in time, I don't even know if you have money to pay all your rookies, so you still have to figure things out. I'm just saying, hypothetically, if they feel like whatever at pick 56, and we'd have to as we're getting closer to the draft, we'll look at who's available at that time frame. But if you're adding, to me, like a specific player that you feel like instantly impacts, I don't know if you want to just, like, ship Eric Armstead off, because your point, this last year proved he can still do things at a pretty high level. I just don't know when it comes to like everything and wanting him to be out there 80%, 90% of the snaps is where my head is.
Right.
And there's also Matt Dickerson.
That's valid. That's totally valid.
Yeah.
If you knew, what did he have? 5 sacks a year before? What did he have the first year? Any? 3?
Eric?
2.5?
Yeah, I think.
And 5.
2, maybe.
I think he had 5.5 last year.
So if you knew that, you can't look in the crystal ball, but if you knew that, you'd never pay him the money. You'd be like, I ain't paying him 17, 8. He had a 3-year, $51 million contract.
He had 5.5 last season, and before through the injury, with the injury, and 2 the year before.
Which he had a whole lot
wasn't
of
playing in
correct.
I don't know.
The most he's ever had was 10 back in 2019.
Yeah,
that was his only double-digit sack season. Eric.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if they grab who they want at 56. Say he is that detail. I wouldn't be surprised if they, because why? You had money to you could have restructured him and gone after. He'd have given you a bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You could have. You know, you
To
could have
me,
also said, we got to add something to this defense, and he's a post one. You could have announced that already, and knowing you would save $15 million.
I think
but
they only want to
didn't do that.
restructure guys that they believe are going to be here for
a
years to
while.
come because it is just pushing the money that you owe down the line.
Agreed.
That's what I think.
Agreed, but you're chasing the title, and you're willing to do that to chase the title.
Right.
And
But
if
yeah,
you're-
as we have this conversation, I'm wondering what parts of this defense, like what players of this defense will be here in 3 years.
Yeah.
At this point, I really don't know because a lot of these guys were not their draft picks, obviously. And
good
they,
question.
Yeah, they may want
It
to
could
change
look a lot
of
different.
things.
We could be talking about a lot of different people in 4 years.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we know that we're not going to have the conversation about the defensive ends. We know it's Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker for the here and now. And nothing's going to change on that. We'll get it to linebackers when we return. Also, Lawrence Lane. Don't go anywhere. Helmets and Heels 1010XL 92.5 FM.
We're not rock stars. We're not movie stars. We're not stars. We're just guys and gals who love sports. And the city of Jacksonville. We are 1010XL.
Not everyone is built for a cubicle. At Local 234, apprentices get paid to learn hands-on skills like plumbing, pipe fitting, HVAC, the stuff Jacksonville runs on. No endless lectures, no massive student debt, just hands-on training, real jobs, and real pay. This is how you level up, by doing work that actually matters. Check them out at UA234.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Local 234. Make the right connection.
Helmets and Heels Tuesday
is served by
Morgan & Morgan.
Hey Jacksonville, Don here, the big cheese at Taco Lou. Well, everyone knows my wife Debbie is the real cheese at the Lou. We just do what we're told. We aren't a sports bar at all, but we have the best selection of the finest tequilas that Mexico has to offer, and that makes any basketball game more fun to watch. So come into Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach, where we love sports and we love tacos with our tequila. If you're looking for a crew to help with your fiestas at home or work, Taco Lou caters, bringing the tacos to you. Taco Lou in Jax Beach, where tacos and sports go hand in hand.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
Fish know where to hide. Captain Kevin knows how to find them.
That's a big one.
Listen for the Wing Power Fishing Forecast Show, brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Royal Pest Services.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
How many Major League Baseball players have played exclusively for the Yankees and the Mets?
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Just 6 Major League players have played exclusively for the Yankees and the Mets, including the famous Yankee catcher Yogi Berra.
Southern Oak Insurance, our family protecting yours.
Hey, Jacksonville DDH. Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here with the scoop from Dreamfinders Homes, your national builder of the year. We've got first-year interest rates as low as 2.99% in homes in 20-plus communities throughout Northeast Florida. If you're house hunting, make sure your first pick Dreamfinders Homes, the proud official home builder of the PGA Tour, the Florida Gators, and your Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dfhsalesevent.com today and tell them Dreamfinders Danny sent you.
Got a dent or a scratch that needs fixing? San Jose Collision in Mandarin offers expert auto body repair and works with all insurance. Family owned and locally trusted. San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Tell me if this is you, because it's definitely me. I go to bed thinking, tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up early, jump in that ice bath I just bought, have a good breakfast, go for a morning walk, and order a veggie for my side instead of fries. Then the morning arrives. I press snooze, skip everything else I planned because I'll do it tomorrow. But that's the Awaken 180 difference. Tomorrow is today. It's so easy.
You want to do it. Your coach will be there to help you do it. You won't want to let her down. Accountability, ease, feeling great. That's the Awaken 180 difference. Now you can download an app, Google a weight loss plan, or buy the latest gadget. But who actually helps you follow through when you couldn't do it before? I lost 40 pounds with Awaken 180, and it was easy. No meds. I couldn't lose 5 pounds in a month on my own. Awaken 180 works, and it continues to work because it's set up to not let you fail. Succeed like we did at awaken180weightloss.com.
XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Grab the matches, start a fire. All the memories in the flames, it's behind us.
Tom McManus, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Time now for Lauren's Lane.
Now, Lauren's Lane. Opened up by Closets by Design. Imagine your home totally organized.
So Florida head coach John Summerall met with media today and said that he's pumped to have Urban Meyer, John Gruden, and Liam Cohen coming to the coaching clinic on Friday. Cool. I feel like Gruden, great. Liam, great. Urban, I might not have invited to that, even though he won 2 titles at Florida. I'm well aware of that, but I might not have invited him to that. But either way, John Summerall did say today that wide receiver Dallas Wilson is out of the boot, and reporters who were on site did also have pictures of him out of the boot. So yes, that is good news. And Summerall also said he's impressed with how coachable running back Jaden Baugh is. And I think the way he said that makes you understand he already knew how talented he was. But sometimes when you acquire talent, you don't exactly know because some of them get a big head because of how they know they're so good. But that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, ego, right? Putting it aside and letting the coach tell me what to do, and I'm going to show him, right? I mean, you're going through a coaching change, with Coughlin. Like the great thing is it's a clean slate. Like you got a whole new staff coming in, and you reset everything. Now, if you got in trouble off the field, like I did, you had to get through a few things, but we did. We got through fine. But you get that. You got to be that. You got to. What does he want? What does that coach want out of me? And I got to deliver it for him. Talent alone, unless you're ultra Randy Moss gifted, even though he still worked on his craft. Like you got to. A new coach comes in, you got to abide by what he wants and hopefully show him that, I'm your kind of guy, coach.
And nowadays with how much they get paid, I think that also helps to kind of keep them on the straight and narrow. Like I know we talk about maybe some players at Georgia or players, the FSU kicker recently, like a few players we do talk about getting into trouble. But I almost think that sometimes the money helps them stay on the path because they know they can earn more of
money.
it.
Yeah.
And
you do the right thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And now you're less focused on classes. So, by the way, I want to give UNF a shout out. They had more than 20,000 fans pack the UNF arena over the 2.5 weeks that UNF hosted the FHSAA.
Nice.
Basketball tournaments.
Cool.
And Florida, or Jacksonville, I should say, hadn't hosted the Florida state titles since or over 50 years or close to 50 years. Wow. So really cool to have those back. And according to Visit Jacksonville, our friends there, the tournament helped fill 2,400 hotel rooms and generated an estimated $3.1 million in economic impact. Shout out to the UNF staff. They hosted 74 games in 19 days.
Wow.
That is a lot of work going in behind the scenes. But yeah, obviously shout out to them because they did a fantastic job. I saw tons of videos of different teams playing there. And of course, we know certain local teams won it all, like a Providence and like a Bishop Kenny girls basketball.
Yeah, I love it. I think stuff like that is what you don't always think directly about the impact of Jacksonville. Like you hear the event and you're like, that's really cool. I have the chance to go watch it, a Sun basketball game that was just here or whatever the case may be when we talk about Florida State tonight, but how it affects the city as a whole. And that's one thing, obviously 1010XL this year has started when they partner with Visit Jacks. And that's what Visit Jacks is all about because there's a lot of, it's cool. Like you have a lot of opportunities. There's been rodeos and cosmic baseball and basketball games and all of these things, which is great because I think those sporting events, it's stuff you normally don't get the chance to do. So it's a little different, but it affects Jacksonville in a big way when it comes to hotels and bringing jobs here for that weekend or week, however long that these certain events are going on. So it is really cool. But I think that's not the first and first thought for a lot of people, and that's what Visit Jacks kind of wants to show people is, hey, there's a lot of things. Players Championship, we talk about that a lot and what it does for the community every year too.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you look at that kind of economic impact, those little ones add up to a lot, right? That 3.1, do that 5, in different places in a quarter, like you're doing great, and the players, that's ridiculous amount of money that goes through, people buying the merchandise and the drinks and the food.
Yeah, I saw pictures on Sunday of the
coming in
merch
for the
tent,
hotels, all
the
that.
fan shop, and it was basically wiped out. And I was like, good job, everybody. You had one job to do, and that was go in there and buy stuff, and you did an excellent job getting merch,
Yeah,
which we
absolutely.
all did too.
Well, look, as Jacksonville continues to grow, there'll be more of those kind of sporting events. You got soccer here, more soccer coming, brand new stadium. There's a lot that's happening in our town, and it just continues to point northward.
And there's
It's awesome.
construction everywhere in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I don't just mean road construction. I mean
buildings going up.
housing, and building construction. All right, back to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We are continuing to project the starting lineup in 2026 post free agency ahead of the NFL draft. On the defensive side, we got through defensive tackles. A little bit of a debate there between Devon Hamilton, Eric Armstead, or Devon Hamilton and a draft pick.
else.
Yeah, we'll certainly see what happens there. Defensive ends, for sure, Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. Linebackers, obviously Foye Oluokun is your middle linebacker. Dennis Gardeck, I think most people would assume is going to be the Sam linebacker, but then Will linebacker, is that going to be Ventrell Miller? Is that going to be a draft pick? That at this point in time, I would probably say Ventrell Miller because he was neck and neck in competition with Devin Lloyd last training camp, but that one I also don't know.
I think it depends what they do at 56. I mean, we assume it's D tackle, but maybe there's an off-ball backer that can come in. And
everybody loves Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech.
Yeah, the Texas
if he's
Tech.
still there.
He potentially could be, it looks like, from some of the mocks. But I don't know. Look, I look at Gardeck, and he could play Sam. He could play Will. I mean, he's fast enough and quick enough to play Will. He can rush the passer, which we know his stats, and he's got to have more opportunity there. Miller's good at coverage, right? He's good in space. He's a pretty good tackler. Foye's Foye. You got him locked in.
Ventrell has had injury issues both at Florida and then
he
with the
has.
Jags,
You're
which
right.
Makes you a little
I mean,
concerned.
look, you don't have Devin Lloyd's direct replacement on the roster right now. That's going to give you what Devin Lloyd gave you. So I would think they're going to look for somebody of that kind of stature that could maybe replace that. Right now, like I said before, you don't have to replace with just one guy. If you got Gardeck, you get, Strigo ends up having a great year, 6 sacks. And Gardeck's got, you can make up for some things, that type of thing. But I don't think they have, whether it's Sam or Will, right? Because Gardeck, I think, can play both. I think he's one of my starters. Gardeck is. Dennis is, along with Foye. I don't think you have the third one on the roster. I think Kaiser's more of a middle, and I think he could be a good middle. I do. I think when they're ready to say goodbye to Foye, I think Jack Kaiser can step in and play that middle backer.
And then Branson Combs.
And then Branson will have a chance. I don't know. I saw in look, it's spot duty, right? So you can't judge it too much. But even with Kaiser, and it could be because they were young, it takes time to get used to linemen, but they got engulfed by the linemen too much for me. Branson he's a fast guy, he's quick, but that lineman came out of him too many times and he couldn't get off him, and it just, I don't know. I didn't see that kind of thumping and getting around that guy. Now again, it takes time sometimes to get used to that speed. You're not used to it in college. I remember trying out for the Saints. Those linemen were so big. The starting linemen came out. They're all massive. Their asses were like 4 feet wide. The guards were like 330 pounds. I was like, holy cow. And then the snap of the ball, and they were up in your face before you even know it. You're like, holy sheep. You know what? And then you got to try to figure it out. Like, you got to, take different angles, read the ball better, understand the play better. So you can just maneuver a little bit better, but it is challenging to do that. I just don't think they have that yet. I hope they get it through the draft. I don't think there's anybody left in free agency that's really going to come in and really show you everything that Lloyd brought to the table.
You would have paid Devin Lloyd 3 years, $45 million.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
In a heartbeat. And to be honest with you, I did a thing yesterday, reloading and rebuilding. If he was here, I just would feel better if he was here.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean they can't replace.
Find something, yeah.
I'm not saying they can't, but I'd feel a lot better if Devin Lloyd was on this
So
team.
your prediction right now would be Foye, Gardeck, and a draft pick.
and someone not on the roster right now.
Okay.
Yeah. But it could be a draft.
Yeah.
It could
draft, or they grab somebody in
some-
this third wave of free agency whenever that comes.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think that's the position group that we're all wondering, and we'll learn obviously a lot more in April when the draft rolls around as far as what they're thinking about the linebacking core.
What does our lads, how do they break down the linebackers right now for the Jags when
They
it comes to that position group?
They have the middle linebacker smartly as Foye Luakan with the backup Jack Kaiser. And oh, by the way, Jalen McLeod, they have after Kaiser. That's a guy when we talked yesterday about if we're looking for optimistic things for the team as far as the rookies that didn't play at all, really. Caleb Ransaw and Wyatt Milam played a little, but not a ton. Travis Hunter ended up getting hurt. I didn't mention Jalen McLeod, but I should have.
And I don't mean to sound negative on Jalen McLeod because we haven't seen him yet, but he didn't look good in camp even before the injury. He just they had him. Now, granted, he didn't do much in the pass rush, which he's probably getting used to it. They had him dropping and covering. I mean, he's not. You could tell he's just not smooth at dropping and covering. But a year in the program, that's what's great about a lot of these guys that they have, whether it's practice squad or their backups or whatnot. They're young. They've been in the program for a year. They should grow mentally, physically, and emotionally tremendously. Year 1 to year 2, like even if you just played a little bit, but you're on the team, you're going to practice, you're in the weight room, you should automatically, I don't know what the percentage is, you know what I mean? But you should be a lot stronger, a lot leaner, a lot faster, a lot quicker, a lot better, clear mind, knowing
You've had an off season, which we talked about that all last week.
Actually got a little break.
You actually have
got
that
a chance
time
to reset.
And then our lads has weak side linebacker Ventrell Miller, and then Dennis Gardeck backing him up, and then Yasir Abdullah backing him up. So they don't have a strong side linebacker listed.
Okay. Yeah. So the ESPN one's very different because it has Trayvon Walker, obviously, and Dennis Gardeck behind him. And then it has
Trayvon Walker as a linebacker?
No, it has Trayvon as a defensive end and Gardeck behind him as a defensive end with BJ Green. And then it has the other side, Josh Hines Allen and Strigow and McLeod as that right side defensive end. And then it has weak side as Foye and Branson Combs, and then Ventrell as middle. And then it's Jack Kaiser and Yasir Abdullah.
Yeah.
Okay, I totally disagree with that. It's just as far as the Foye not being
and on ESPN, on the roster, when they rostered, they're all backers. So
it just says back. And that's what I was just curious how different it was, because I just noticed right away Gardeck and McLeod being as ends on this one is different already.
We got to give credit because Abdullah was really good on special teams. Gardeck's good on special teams. Combs is good on special teams. Kai, they're good. They're all good on special teams, and you need that. You absolutely need those kind of guys on your team.
For sure. All right, the golden moment is next. We'll talk some more Jaguars as well. You are listening to Helmets and Heels, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
The head football coach at the Episcopal School of Jacksonville, Mark Brunell.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select
1010XL.
Jacksonville, you voted, and Baker Glass came out on top. The Bold City Best Awards are all about locals choosing their favorites, and you picked them for Best Auto Glass and Best Glass and Mirror Service.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
After attending a Saturday Bumps and Bruises clinic by Southeast orthopedic specialist, my son's hip and shoulder issues were diagnosed quickly, and he's back playing. As a busy family, we really appreciate their prompt attention.
I've been having knee problems for probably 6 months, and I had heard about Southeast Orthopedics on the radio, and I gave them a call. They got me right in. Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. It was painless, and it's been doing fantastic.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Helmets and Heels Tuesday.
Covered by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
What if the next roof you put on your home was the last one? Not another replacement in 15 or 20 years, the last roof. Metlock Roofing is Florida's only manufacturer and installer of this exclusive roofing system. Engineered for strength, built for Florida weather, backed by a lifetime warranty. Imagine never needing another roof. Call 938-9933 or visit metlokroofing.com. Get your last roof today with Metlock. License number CCC 1335581.
I was born in Louisiana.
The Legends 90th birthday celebration. Live. Buddy Guy, 90. Saturday, August 22nd, St. Augustine Amphitheater. Tickets on sale now at AXS.com.
Whether you're undertaking a major home renovation or just a simple repair request, American Electrical is your 5-star Jacksonville-based electrician to get the work done right. Experienced design building department working seamlessly with their electrical contracting department to help you create beautiful lighting spaces and electrical plans that make your house flow. And remember, with American Electrical, it's wired right at a fair price. Call American Electric at 737-7770. Look for that red, white, and blue eagle on the side of their truck, and you'll know it's American Electrical.
Hicken here. Oh boy, you know I love a good flash sale, and we got one right now from Zero Res. This week only 15% off all cleaning. It's International Cleaning Week, baby. Carpet, air ducts, tile, grout, upholstery, hardwood, area rugs, and more. Be the household hero and book now. Call 287-5727. Flash sale this week only for 15% off all cleaning from Zero Res. Tell Dan sent you. Zero Res, spelled backwards and forwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. You hear about guarantees and warranties. What is Underwood's policy?
Frank, to talk about guarantees and warranties, you have to look at our history of over 70 years in business. Underwood's entire reason for existence is and has been to offer fine products that'll be used with such satisfaction that both the giver and the receiver will want to come back. And hopefully they'll tell their friends about us. To do this means we've got to try our hardest to satisfy every customer. All of our people understand that. Now, I'm sure over the years we've made a few mistakes, but we've never failed to make good on any Underwood product that was returned with a legitimate customer complaint. Our entire reputation would mean nothing if we didn't conduct ourselves that way. Simply put, conducting our business with integrity is a lot more important to Underwoods and our customers than all the guarantees, warranties, and contrived legal obligations in the world. And you've got Underwood's word, my word, and all of our people's word on that.
Underwoods in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Pro soccer lives here. So be there when Sporting Jacks brings 90 minutes of pro speed, finesse, and edge. Home to Jacksonville at Hodges Stadium. See it live. Feel the energy. Join the action. Sporting Jacks is at home March 25th. Season tickets with seats starting at just $10 per match. Call 904-863-KICK or visit sportingjacks.com. This is history. Sporting Jacks. Pro soccer, pro Jacks.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
My golden moment will be another shout out to Firehouse Subs for bringing us in their new chicken and cheddar rancher sub. We also got the fries. Their fries are delicious. If you've never, I feel like most people don't even know they have fries. Anytime I mention that, they're like, oh, I would just get chips. Their fries are delicious. So get that if you are there. But this new chicken and cheddar rancher sub, grilled white meat chicken, crispy bacon, melty cheddar cheese, and that herb forward buttermilk. That is a hard word to say. Buttermilk
It's because
ranch.
you see the R in ranch right after buttermilk.
Yeah.
Tom, I know you love R's.
R's, L's, and N's. They go great together.
But yeah.
But anyways, go get one because it was fantastic.
Everything you get from Firehouse is
so good.
delicious.
Oh,
and like you said, until probably maybe like a year ago, I don't know that they had fries, right?
And it was pretty recent, but I remember because I guess certain locations had them and not every location did, but now I think it's everywhere. And that was like the big thing last year is like everywhere has French fries now, but they're great. And it comes with like a hero sauce too. I don't really even know. It's like a aioli type sauce. Very good too. So yeah, swing by and get one of the new sandwiches or your traditional sandwich, whatever you like, because I am kind of a traditionalist when it comes to my subs. Like I like my subs what they are, but this was fantastic. So make your way to Firehouse.
It's got all the
very tasty,
essentials
man.
on it. Yeah, like
no
you
doubt.
said. All right, projection of the Jaguars starting lineup post free agency. We have made it all the way to cornerbacks. We are almost through this. I don't think this one needs any conversation either. I think it's Travis Hunter, Buster Brown, Jordan Lewis are your starting three, and then certainly Jarian Jones will see a significant portion of playing time as well.
Yes.
Yep. And nickel.
Yeah,
I
and
think
nickel.
Jarian's your well, he'll be
I like
your
our
backup
corners.
all around. Yeah,
Right.
I like our corners too.
Yeah.
Especially if Travis is healthy, having him and then having a Buster Brown type corner is a great combination. You know what I mean? Guy that can handle whoever, and then a guy that can take their number two or help double their number one, but and be physical on the run, physical against the receiver.
Yeah.
It could be a really good team.
And then you are confident when Jarian has to come in. I don't
Without
know
a
if I think at least most people and myself, I would feel like there's no to me, I'd be like, okay, if Jarian has to play that day for whatever reason, you feel confident in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you said, sometimes there's a lot of defensive backs out on the field, and you feel confident in all those aforementioned. All right, safeties. I'll go out on a limb and say Caleb Ransah starts opposite Antonio Johnson. That leaves Eric Murray as the backup there. I don't have any idea at this point in time if Caleb Ransah is healthy. I'm just going to hope because that injury was fairly early in training camp last year. So I would like to believe that he'll be ready to go for OTAs and then, of course, training camp for this year. But I'll go Caleb Ransah and Antonio Johnson, mainly because they drafted Ransah. They signed, of course, Eric Murray a year ago, and then they did not draft Antonio Johnson, but I think everyone would tell you how much they like him, how much everyone who watched the games obviously liked him with all those interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, Antonio Johnson, to me, has definitely got one of the spots. I think they would like Caleb because they drafted him so high to be the guy, and I hope that he can, come back healthy. But he's never played safety either. He was doing okay. He was getting better as camp went on before he got hurt. But that's training camp, so you can't really tell too much from that. I think Lane, although a special teams demon, I don't know if he'll be your starter, but I think he'll at least have a shot. I think they might draft a safety and see. Keep in mind that 3 safety thing's going to be a new thing, right? Since Seattle won a Super Bowl with it.
You don't have Andrew Wingard anymore, who was, I think, more of your third safety.
You're going to need 3 safeties sometimes, and so I think it's going to be a fun group to figure out. I want to say it's Antonio Johnson. I don't think they redo Eric Murray to sit on the bench, but I know they want the young kid. I say Eric Murray probably starts out and Caleb gets in there eventually. Maybe that's your trio, but I do think they'll draft a safety that, depending where they draft him, may have a shot at getting in the mix.
Yeah, it's funny. Mine was similar when I first looked at it, Lauren, to yours, just in the sense of I could see Eric Murray battling, like a true battle with Murray and somebody. And that's what I'm wondering. If it's a Ransah, you hope it's a Ransah because you obviously spent a high draft pick on that last year. But do they try and look into the draft a little bit more? I would expect Antonio Johnson to be one of the starters. I feel like he really proved himself last year to be that. And we've talked so much. If you want to talk, someone on the text line got mad at me because I said do what Seattle does. But that's what they did when it comes to their safeties. And then they'd use Imanwari as like a linebacker, and they would do so many different things. And so if you have
Why did they get mad at you?
I don't know. The guy called me dumb. It's just how the text line is. But I was like, what are you even? I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
We need to start reading. Remember, we were going to do that.
Reading the mean tweets. That's what I should have called him out earlier in the show.
Jokers.
But yeah, so I think that in that sense, and you mentioned, I want to say later in the season last year, like Antonio Johnson could possibly play like that type of role that Imanwari does, and like move him around a little bit. And then that third safety is really important, obviously. And so I do think the safety room, which was last year a battle when we talked about it through camp, unfortunately Ransall got hurt, so we didn't get to see the full extent of what that could have looked like for the season. But I'd expect it to be, you're seeing multiple guys out there playing safety until they get those final 2.
Who do you think,
or
if they went
sometimes.
base, is it Ransall and Antonio?
Yeah, I mean, I guess right now I'd have to say Murray and Antonio Johnson just because I feel like I haven't seen enough of Ransall. My hope is that it's Ransall because I've said on this, I'm not the biggest Eric Murray fan.
No, right. Yeah. No, I know you've said that before. Maybe he's the insurance, until they get Caleb, feeling good and confident and understanding. But again, even though he was hurt, he should have a year of growth. He should. I'm sure he was, in the meetings, watching film, all that stuff, learning the system, understanding the system, that kind of thing. So, he'll be ready mentally, hopefully. And then, look, we know you always want to go younger. You always want to go faster, especially at the safety position, right? So that's what Eric Murray will be fighting against, is a younger and faster athlete. But can his, years of experience, beat that out? Well, remains to be seen.
That's why I think Dewey going to the Cardinals for the year, contract that he got, $3 million. I think the Jaguars were okay parting ways with Dewey just because the lack of speed. I think they loved everything else about Andrew Wingard. I think it was just the fact, and I think that's, why he was undrafted. Back in 2019.
Yep. Agreed. No, totally agreed. I think they like certain things about Wingard, and then that was, we saw it. Like, if he got caught up in the wash and the tight end got past him, he doesn't have the makeup to go get that guy. Ransall does at 4.3. Yeah, I mean, he just does. You're going from 4.5, maybe 4.6. I'm sure he's more of a 4.5 Wingard, and then down to a 4-3. That's a big difference. But other than that, and Wingard can be a good player for you in your system for a year or two and let him ride off into the sunset. And he has had a great career, when it's all said and done.
His pro day Dewey's was a 4.56.
Yeah. So he probably got slower over time. As you get older, you get a little slower.
That's why everyone wants younger.
Yeah.
All right, so as we look over this as a whole, this exercise, right guard, we believe there's a battle there. Running back, potentially a battle there.
To start.
Yep. Second, tight end, not sure exactly who that is at this point in time for a 2 tight end set. Defensive tackle, question mark as far as opposite Devon Hamilton. Obviously linebacker. And I'm going to assume that Foye is the middle linebacker regardless, but I suppose they could mix things around, but certainly linebacker. And then safety.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And Foye's played Will throughout his career, too. He played Mike and Will. So he can do it all. So
I'd prefer to have him at middle linebacker.
Yeah, me too.
Because I think this defense is best when he's got the green dot, but we'll see what
getting the plays in and getting the line. He's really good with that. And that's what you will miss in the back end with Wingard being gone, because I'm sure he knew the defense like the back of his hand. In the sense of the scheme and where to be and what the coverage is and how it's rolling and all that good stuff.
And if you missed it in the beginning of the show, we said it would be a competition between Trevor Lawrence and Nick Mullen. I'm just kidding. The people tuning in, I feel like they'd have to panic.
Fire up the text line now, Taylor. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 904-641-1010. I mean, I have honestly, no offense to Nick Mullins, but I wondered if he's the best backup quarterback
even that.
for this
we have a backup battle.
Maybe
talk about that.
And I saw Pro Football Rumors today posted, prior to trading for Justin Fields, the Chiefs had Anthony Richardson on their radar. The Jaguars and Packers had also been mentioned as possible destinations for the Colts quarterback. And so I was like, bring him in to be a backup quarterback and or compete for the backup quarterback position with Nick Mullins. I would have no issues with that. But obviously you have to, as a regime, understand that there will be speculation that Anthony Richardson is coming in to compete with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
That will be...
Yeah, you need your backup to not break his face with a rubber band if he's going to be ready to come into the game.
Orbital bone.
And the caveat on that, they're not... The $275 million will trump anything you're thinking
definitely.
of.
It's just, know that
that would have been a
vocal
conversation.
minority, would have been like, Anthony Richardson's going to be the savior for the Jaguars or the next starting quarterback. All right, one segment to go. We'll bring you today's Pest of the Day. On the other side, it's Helmets and Heels, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
Frank Franzi here from my bank, South State Bank. South State has been committed to delivering world-class customer service that businesses like yours and mine can count on. From personalized support to cutting-edge banking solutions, South State Bank has blended the trusted traditions we all value with the innovation you need for tomorrow. Whether you're managing cash flow or investing in growth, South State Bank is here to help you move forward. Visit southstatebank.com or visit your local branch today. That's South State. Member FDIC.
Best Bet poker fans, the stakes are high this month as Best Bet dishes out over $700,000 between Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine's poker rooms. Feeling lucky? How about daily high hands, weekend winnings every Friday and Saturday, and go for the green on St. Patrick's Day, where a royal flush in clubs wins up to $5,000. See all the details at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Helmets and Heels Tuesday.
Litigated by Morgan & Morgan.
When you head out for a night with friends or going to the big game, don't forget the best game plan to win the night is to designate a driver and guarantee a safe ride home. Hydrating between buds is the best play you can make. Bud Light, reminding all to drink wiser.
Coach Campo here, and I just want to tell you about the best pizza I've had right here in Duval, and that's Tony D's Pizza. Tony works hard to make every slice perfect. If you love pizza like I do, you need to go to Tony D's, Bay Meadows and 295.
Attention men and women, if you'd like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-4477. Hairforme.com.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Tell me if this is you, because it's definitely me.
I go to bed thinking, tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up early, jump in that ice bath I just bought, have a good breakfast, go for a morning walk, and order a veggie for my side instead of fries. Then the morning arrives. I press snooze, skip everything else I planned because I'll do it tomorrow. But that's the Awaken 180 difference. Tomorrow is today. It's so easy. You want to do it. Your coach will be there to help you do it. You won't want to let her down. Accountability, ease, feeling great. That's the Awaken 180 difference. Now you can download an app, Google a weight loss plan, or buy the latest gadget. But who actually helps you follow through when you couldn't do it before? I lost 40 pounds with Awaken 180, and it was easy. No meds. I couldn't lose 5 pounds in a month on my own. Awaken 180 works, and it continues to work because it's set up to not let you fail. Succeed like we did at awaken180weightloss.com.
XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Time now for the Pest of the Day. Is always brought to you by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online at Terminix.com. It's TERMINIX.com. They do a fabulous job taking care of Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, where I'll be tonight, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and all of your favorite event venues around town, as well as at our house. And if you have mosquitoes, especially this time of year, you want to get rid of mosquitoes, they can help you prevent mosquitoes from growing in your area. Is it growing, mosquitoes?
Yeah, they grow.
Do they?
Well, in number.
Pollinating? I don't know what mosquitoes
I don't know what it's
do.
called either.
Yeah,
That was
whatever.
just a trick question. I was not prepared.
I fell asleep in science class. I don't know.
Preventing mosquitoes from returning.
They're
How's
born.
that?
There
We'll
you
move
go.
on from
There
there.
you go.
All
Rehash.
right, so the pest of the day is the disparity in women's basketball. And so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
thinking that the tournament field might need to be reduced. They may not need to have as many teams in women's basketball as they do in men's. And here's why. On Saturday, I texted Taylor this because it bothered me. We saw a final score of 1-seeded South Carolina beating a 16-seed Southern 103-34. 103-34. Yesterday, UConn, another 1-seed, was up at the half on Syracuse, a 9-seed, 65-12. A team had 12 points at the half, and then they ended up, UConn ended up winning that one 98-45. We saw second-seeded LSU beat 7-seeded Texas Tech. This is a 7-seed. 101-47. And then finally, a 1-seed Texas beat 8-seeded Oregon 100-58. There's a problem in women's basketball. You've got the haves and the have-nots. By the way, I did see that second-seeded Iowa loss. So
I did. The men's got it,
correct.
but not
the
the
men's
women.
won. The women's did not. They were upset by Virginia.
Sounds like they got some fat to cut.
Got
up
it,
there.
definitely.
They need to trim that field down to probably like 32 teams at this point in time. That is embarrassing
Probably
for your
20
sport.
teams.
Embarrassing, maybe 20. Embarrassing for your teams that are a part of this, the players. Like to have 12 points at the half in college basketball.
Yeah,
that's
the
insane.
one you sent me the screenshot over the weekend when it was
That was South Carolina.
Yeah, the South
Southern.
Carolina one, and it was. What was it again?
101-34.
Yeah. And then, by the way, Texas over Oregon was 100-58 final. So there's a lot of these. LSU 101-47.
Yeah, I read those.
But that's why I was just going through all of the ones that do it. But the one you screenshot me, I remember at first confused because I was like, we don't talk about college women's basketball very often. So I thought you sent me something by accident. And then I saw the score and I was like, whoa. I mean, that it's not fun. It's not fun for anybody. It can't even be fun for the players on the other team at that point in time when you're losing by that much. And it's not like it's an outlier of one team it's happening to. This is 4, 5, 6
This is in
different
the second
games.
round.
Yeah.
We're headed towards the Sweet 16 in women's basketball. By the way, speaking of the Sweet 16, Taylor, did you know 6-seeded Notre Dame takes on 2nd-seeded Vandy Friday at 2:30?
I do. They beat Ohio State by 10, and they upset Ohio State, so I was down for that one.
Yeah.
I don't super follow it, but when I see Ohio State losing, I'm about it.
Honestly, I had it on for like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something like that, and then I got distracted. But yeah, Notre Dame and Ohio State.
You got distracted?
Yeah, it doesn't take much, that's for sure.
And by the way, speaking of women's basketball, it was announced yesterday that the Gators have a new head coach. Unfortunately for my family, we really liked Kelly Ray Finley, who was the previous coach, but Scott Strickland let her go and hired Tammy Reese. She got a 5-year deal worth $900,000.
Oh, nice. So
annually.
with the women's hoops, are they getting money? Are they getting paid?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
is
the
that
ones like USC, like South Carolina, UConn, those teams.
Yeah.
LSU.
So they're
going
to continue to get the best of the best.
And that's where Florida fans, not many Florida fans are that like bothered by the women's basketball team not winning. People always ask, well, you're successful in so many sports. Why
not
can't Florida
women's
be good in
hoops?
women's basketball? And they were good under Carol Ross a long time ago now, like 20 years ago now, but they haven't been in a long time. And people like my dad who actually do care about the women's programs, whether it's basketball, whether it's softball, volleyball. He believes that coaches are getting fired or leaving Florida because the NIL dollars aren't there for those certain women's sports. Gymnastics, I think it is there for, which is why they're one of the best in the country. But it will be interesting to see if this Tammy Reese coming from Rhode Island can be successful.
Well, I mean, look, you understand maybe a 1 seed beating a 16 by that much, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe.
Or
In men's basketball, we saw
you guys beat
16 seed almost beat a 1
Yeah,
seed.
you guys beat Prairie.
There's like
View
30s
by a
in
ton,
that
didn't you?
first 116 sometimes.
Yeah.
But still. All right, speaking of Florida sports, let's head out to ViStar Ballpark.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
Hayes, as we recover from that loss Sunday night, I can report Kevin O'Sullivan, as you're well aware of, is 38-23 against FSU.
Really is amazing what Sully has been against the Noles and the Canes. And certainly they'll renew that rivalry tonight. Florida State at the baseball grounds, always a lot of fun. Florida won the first matchup, 6-3 on March 10th. But Florida's really been struggling lately. Florida State up to 10th in the country. So, big game tonight for both programs. We'll certainly look forward to breaking it all down. We're going to, we believe, have Jeff Cardozo, the Florida play-by-play guy, and the FSU play-by-play guy as well. So we'll certainly look forward to that. And we'll talk all sorts of NFL as well coming up on the Frangie Show.
How's the wind down there at the ballpark, Hayes?
It's pretty bad right now. I would say bundle up. And right now it's blowing in at a pretty significant pace. So if it stays in this direction, I would think the pitching would be at a massive advantage. But we will see. Wind can shift, as you guys know. But definitely blowing very strong, very peculiar weather that I think we've had for months now, and this just adds to it. I mean, basically, it's kind of gloomy, but we know we'll have fun out here at the ballpark.
Yeah, we've had every season in like 2 weeks.
Yes.
All right, thanks so much, Hayes. That is interesting
you.
about the wind blowing in. You would think help Florida. It's cold, but certainly I would expect to, if you're on the field, the wind's a little bit reduced. It's going to be more, obviously the higher up you go.
Yeah.
But certainly looking forward to it. The Sunshine Showdown that we have every year, Tax Slayer Gator Bowl puts it on. And like I mentioned earlier in the show, it is sold out. You've got 10th ranked Knowles coming to town, and a former Sandalwood pitcher is there on the mound for the Knowles.
It's a pitch at home. That's fine.
Yeah, I think that'll be really cool. I'm sure FSU will have a good cheering section for him. And first pitch, 6 o'clock. We're ready to rock and roll.
Love it.
Well, the
Baseball
Frangie Show's ready to
season.
rock and roll. They have 2 hours to do before the game. But I'm just ready to rock and roll because I've had this on my calendar since last year.
Yeah.
Honestly, since Florida lost.
And it was college baseball obviously has been going on, but now the Shrimples, their opening day is on Friday. The Cubs opening day is on Thursday, but we have some opening days tomorrow.
I think just one tomorrow.
Tomorrow, and then
Yankees,
Thursday
Giants.
a lot of them, and then some wait until Friday. But I just saw this post, by the way, MLB posted it because the parks post their like foods that they have for the season. Boston announced this: the Red Sox will be serving a lobster poutine at Fenway Park this year. The ballpark food features fries, lobster meat, clam chowder, and crispy bacon, all served in a custom lobster boat. And this looks fantastic. It made me so hungry.
Clam chowder.
Yeah. I guess that's
their
like
version of
the
cheese.
gravy or whatever.
Yeah. And on the poutine.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate
It's probably $65, but it's fine.
For sure. We appreciate our French fries and our
Yes, thank
subs
you.
from Firehouse Subs. That'll do it for us. For Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow. But don't go anywhere. The Frangie Show live from ViStar Ballpark is next.